some musicians the newcomers, they listen to the bass. Sometimes they see like a four-string instrument. Oh, that'll be super easy to play, easier than the guitar. Guitar has too many strings. And let's go to the bass. Then they get into the bass. They start to play a couple of notes, bass lines, and then down the road, they're going to figure they have to know harmony.
Hello and welcome to ForBassPlayersOnly.com. I'm John Liebman, founder and first baseman. If you've ever wanted to play bass, but you feel bogged down or hindered by arthritis or tendonitis or any of those pesky things that happen to us when we get older, you should know that right now there are thousands of people inside the ForBassPlayersOnly community, a lot of them of the silver-aged vintage, and they are learning bass, having the time of their life playing music that they love. You should come join them and experience that incredible transformation for yourself. As I always say, you're never too old to groove. So let's play bass. My guest this week is a native Brazilian, Paulo Cesar Pereira, and he wears a lot of hats in the music industry. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's actually a professional cellist. He's a composer, sound engineer, and he plays guitar, and of course, he also plays bass. Originally from Anápolis, Brazil, Paulo has performed all styles of music, everything from Bach to Bosanova, all over the globe, alongside a long list of prominent artists, ensembles of various sizes, all the way up to major symphony orchestras. Paulo studied at the Berklee College of Music in Boston and is currently based in Los Angeles. This is his first time on For Bass Players Only. Welcome, Paulo. Great to have you.
It's nice to be here, John. Thank you for having me here.
That's quite a music room you've got there. It looks like you've got everything you need.
Oh, yeah. I call that my family behind me.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I want to ask you, you've done so much stuff and you've done so many things. Let's start by going back to the beginning and talking about the early days. How would you describe your musical upbringing and what attracted you to music and what attracted you to the bass?
Oh, my. That's a very interesting question. Good question. I was a teenager, and back in Brazil, we always are surrounded by music, by artists. My mom has a lot of artist friends, and a lot of musicians around. And I started to study the classical guitar, and I got interested by the bass. I saw this artist playing this like a very interesting bass. I was a headless bass, and I thought that was fantastic, and it sounds awesome. I got curious, and I started to play bass with friends. I just fall in love with the sound of the instrument. Interesting enough, it was a Steinberger bass. That was early 80s, I believe so.
Yeah.
I was around 14, 15 years old. What's more, since then, I started to play bass. I played bass for a few years, and numbers of bands. I started to play Bosanova, a lot of jazz, rock and roll. It's a very interesting. I don't mind the style of music. I like them all. And if you're doing well, it's worth it. And I learned so much from all types of music, all styles.
When you first discovered the bass, did you start listening to music differently, trying to pick out the bass on records and in music? And did you have any bass influences? Who got your attention?
Oh my God, too many people. But let's see. You have all the bass players from Brazil. You have the bass players from all over the world. Let's see. Jaco Pastorius, of course. Marcus Miller. I have the pleasure We met many years ago. Back in Brazil, the bass players was Luizão Maia, Bororó, who is my personal friend, very close friend today. I work with him now. I have tons of projects you're working it. I will later on. I will tell you more about it. Oh my God, so many bass players. Let's see. Jaco, Marcus Miller, Luizão Maia, Bororó. It's too many to mention. That was back in the day.
I want to ask you something that I hadn't thought of until now, but maybe you can settle something for me. Most people think, you would know, you're from Brazil, but when you play a bossa nova, most people will play a dotted quarter, eighth of dum, 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 dum. And some people say, no, the authentic, the original bossa nova from Jobim and from Brazil, it's really more half notes. Dum, dum, dum. And I listen very closely to the Jobim and the Stan Getz and all of that stuff. And I think I hear a little of both, but maybe you can give me an authoritative answer. What is the deal with that, playing a bossa nova bass line? Is it the dotted figure or is it the even half notes?
Okay, think is this way. Bossa nova, think samba, but you're gonna play slow samba. Bum, do, tum, do, pom, ka, do, pom. And of course, you can throw all the approach notes there, and then you start to sound jazzy a little bit. Like we cannot hear in this bass. Probably bass is not on, but let's play bossa nova rhythm. So be. You're gonna have a.
I don't think the sound of the bass is coming through with Zoom, no. But I'm going to look to see if you're playing dotted figures or half notes. I think a lot of people would benefit to know that. So what I'm not sure I understand your answer. So you're saying...
No, let's see. I'll give it. I answer it for sound. Bossa nova, it's you can think it's a slow samba. Besides the it's more with the guitar. Let's emulate the sound of the guitar and the bass.
Yeah, I don't know how the final recording will sound, but on the live right now, I can kind of hear it, then can't hear it, kind of hear it, can't hear it.
Yeah, I understand.
So let's get back to you. So how about your career? How did that get rolling? What kind of stuff were you doing initially?
Initially, so since I started to play the bass, was young. We did a lot of amateur music for the very beginning, like everybody. We have our friends. We are learning. We are very curious. We learning with each other. We are listening to the another bass players or another bands, another guitar players. And things got serious. I got very serious about it. And I decided to go to school and study bass. And I was very interested in study the stand-up bass. And I show up in a school, they don't have a stand-up bass. They have this another instrument, that they have a cello. And I say, no, why? It looks like the bass. I'm gonna start with the cello. And then when they get the stand-up bass, and I already know the basics. It's fretless, you know, it has a bow. And then I have one idea that makes it more easy. The problem is, when I heard the cello in person, I heard before, but in person, for the very first time, I just fell in love for it. I fell in love for the cello, and then I started to play the bass and the cello. But to answer your question, after that, because then things got really serious, I was studying like a crazy. I was enjoying studying the cello and the bass. I never stopped to play the bass. And after a few years, I ended up getting to the symphony orchestra as a cellist. That was my first professional big job. It was my big job. And our first concert, it was an outdoor concert. I ended up on the stage and my audience was, I believe, was 30,000 or 40,000 people. That was a quite a day. It was very interesting. I remember when you finished the concert, I standed to thank the audience. And when I put my two hands down, I can feel electricity come out of my fingers. I was having electric shocks. That was my first experience playing with the symphony orchestra with the audience that big. Before that, I did theaters and the nightclubs, playing all sorts of music.
Cello?
Go ahead.
Cello?
That one was cello. With the symphony, it was cello.
Yeah.
And but the symphony got really, it's a very demanding work. We have to work a lot. And I end up putting the bass aside for many years. With this symphony, I was with them for 8.5 years. Plus, I was playing chamber music at the university. And I have to all this orchestra music. We're playing a lot of Bach. With the chamber music was a lot of Baroque music. With the symphony orchestra, things was more romantic and classic. Brahms, Tchaikovsky, Mahler, Shostakovich, all the symphonies by Beethoven. Oh, I love it. I wish everybody to get a chance to sit on an orchestra and be there and play with us. It's, you know, at the times when I was playing some of those concerts, I did have my eyes full of tears. But it's an orchestra. You cannot really cry on the stage. And then you have to hold the emotion because it's so beautiful. It vibrates. And right behind me is a cellist. Right behind me, I have all the bass players. The bass session was right behind me. And then you can hear the power coming from there. I was and of course, we're friends with everybody. I was such a interesting experience. For 8.5 years was with them. After that, I decided to leave the orchestra, come to United States, when things got very interesting again. But back in Brazil with the symphony, we did a lot of concerts with a lot of Brazilian artists, like world-renowned artists. I play with all the local musicians. I mean, I was happy with what I was doing, but I was time for a fresh air, do something different. I moved to the United States. And
did you move specifically to go to Berkeley?
No. I was thinking, my first idea was, I want to play jazz. And then I was thinking, okay, if I want to play jazz, where's the best place to go? And I said, you have to go to the house of jazz, where jazz born. He born in the United States. And okay, where I'm going? That was the first question. What city? Has a lot of cities, New York, Los Angeles. I end up in Seattle. You know, and I want to play jazz. And I was a cellist. At this point, bass still aside. And I end up playing with a bunch of musicians in here, great people, fantastic musicians. And I decided to show up in a jam session here. You know, I was about to play by myself, was unloading my cello to play in the second half of the jam session. Doesn't feel like nobody will want to take the risk or the chance to play with me because, you know, I was a cellist. All those guys, they're playing rock and roll. They like, they never told me, but I can tell you, they are pretty worried about it. When I was about to get on stage, I remember I got approached by two guys. And one of the guys, he looked at my instrument and he said, wow, you play cello, that's very nice. And he said, you know why? I play drums. Do you want to play a song with me? I was about to go to the stage by myself, and I looked to him, and he's have a beautiful smile, super, you know, you can feel the good aura, the good aura around the guy. And I was looking at him and said, yeah, I think it would be nice. Okay. I didn't know the name. I have no clue who was that person. It was a beautiful smile. Looks like it was a good people. That jam session was at the EMP in Seattle. We got on the stage, and I have to tell you, we burned that stage. We exploded that stage. That was incredible. I walk out of the stage thinking, who the hell is this drummer? I love this guy. He's incredible. The audience was crazy. I have like tons of people jumping on me, trying to speak with me, and my eyes are locked on the drummer. And I saw the drummer walk out of the stage by himself. Nobody spoke with him. He walk away straight to the bar. And I have all these people talking with me on the same time. The music from the nightclub was on. I was not able to understand a word. I was agreeing with everything. Yes, of course. And finally, I was able to get out of this crazy commotion, these happy people. I end up sitting right on the back of the bar on a dark spot, a little table by myself. I was there having a drink and enjoy the music. And the drummer show up on my table. And finally, we got a chance to introduce ourselves because at this point, we don't even know our names. And, you know, his name is it's Alan. And so, oh, my name is Alan. And I said, oh, very nice to meet you. My name is Paulo. We start talking, and then he said, oh, you're Brazilian, right? And I said, yeah, how do you know I'm Brazilian? And then he said, I know, I play a few concerts back in Brazil. And then I thought, wow, I knew this guy is professional. Long story short, that drummer ended up in being Alan White. And Alan, yeah, when finally, I figured it out later on in the conversation, who I was talking with. And then I said, oh my God, that's Alan White from Yes. That's Alan White from Imagine It with John Lennon. And I was like, holy, I don't believe. And he was a super good people. And then I told him, Alan, I'm here in Seattle for around 6 months now, and I don't have any friends. You know, today I show up here in this jam session because I have so much to say. And I decided to save my cello. And he was super happy. He was like, Paulo, don't worry. From now on, you're going to have a lot of friends. And I said, okay. And he stand up, you know, we got out of the table. He said, please follow me. And I walk with him to the bar. Do you remember, we have like a tons of people jumping on me, trying to speak with me right after the performance. Okay, he show up in the bar, he introduced me. That people was jumping on me, was his personal friends, was his wife. I didn't know. All the musicians who worked with him. And that was early 2000, so I think it was 2001. Those people, we still friends. They become family to me. One of them, she called me every morning to say hi. We are friends for 20-something years.
Wow.
Then other guys, we played together, we worked together. Yeah. But so I was in a symphony orchestra back in Brazil, moved to Seattle. Right after that, I ended up working with Alan White in a few projects. And I remember I was trying to play jazz. The jazz was not really working out because I ended up with like all the rock stars from the city. I was playing rock and roll left and right. I was laughing. I said, I don't want to play rock and roll. I want to play jazz. But no, I was playing all over the place.
What did you study at Berkeley? Were you studying jazz or bass or composition, cello?
Okay, then at Berkeley, I got a chance to study cello with Eugene Friesen. And Eugene Friesen, he is an improvisational cello player. He's incredible. He can play anything. From classical music, I show up there, and first time I play for him, I play some of the Bach cello suites. And they asked me, Paulo, if you want to work on the Bach cello suites, I'll be more than happy to work with you on those musics. But at the same time, he started to teach me his basics of improvisation. And of course, I've been improvising since I was a teenager. I cannot even remember when I show up on the stage. Besides when I was playing classical music, I never knew the music. I walk into the stage with the artist, tell me, okay, then an introduction, that's the solo, an introduction, and the chorus, I want to walk in bass line, and then you have like 8 measures to do your solo. Okay, and then the next song, and I'm walking to the stage. I have an artist like tell me what's going to happen. And then I was looking to them and I was thinking, okay, sure, they really think I'm going to remember all of that. Forget it. Okay, I go by, if I can, I'll do it. It worked for years and years and my whole life. There was never enough time to learn the music because it was too much work, too many people. But so sure. Back in Berkeley, I started to study improvisational music. And at the same time, by myself, I was studying composition. All the combinations of the instruments on the orchestra, how I make a chord sound epic or mysterious. You know, how do I make a love song? How do I make this? Let's see. If you have a music like a, try to remember the names. I cannot recall now.
Well, while you're thinking, I thought of a question. Did you listen to much Oscar Pettiford? Was he on your radar at all? Because he played bass and cello, and he was a jazzer and an improviser.
No, I didn't listen much to him, to be honest with you. Not much. This day, I have to be honest with you, these days I'm not listening to many of the other musicians or composers. When I have a chance, when I have some free time, yes, then I go through my library and I listen to everybody. Just for the fun of it, I have a glass of water or a glass of wine and I enjoy it. But there's not much time to listen to music anymore because we have to be making the music. And it's
so what's keeping you busy what's keeping you busy these days?
Right now, I'm working a score for a movie. The movie it's been made in Brazil. I cannot say much about the movie yet. I'm not authorized yet to say anything. But I can tell. I'm working this score. I have to finish this score this month. I have my deadline. It's in 2 weeks. I have most of the music done and recorded. It'll be beautiful. The producers and the directors, they like the work, they like the music. I'm very happy. They are happy, and I'm very happy the results with the score, with the picture. It's working out. I will let you know when it's out.
Yeah, please
when
do.
when they can let me talk more about them, say their names and all of that.
So I guess that's taking up a lot of your time,
It
or
is.
has been.
Yeah, normally I start working around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I call the day around 9 in the evening every day.
Wow,
And
that's a long day.
yeah, no complaints. I like it. I'm so
Oh,
used
good.
to it. Back in Los Angeles, I was working in the industry. I work I will say in a heavy industry for many years. And there, that was from 3 o'clock in the morning into God knows, into when you finished. If it takes like
Yeah.
4 days, you'll be up 4 days until it's done. And you can work as a ghost. I did a lot of ghost work for tons of artists. I wish I can
On the
mention their
cello,
name.
on the cello, or on the bass, the cello,
No,
or
I
what?
did is a composer and arranger. Some of the people
Wow.
back in Los Angeles, they don't even know I'm a bass player or I'm a cellist. They think I'm a composer.
Are you in Los Angeles now?
Now,
You're based there, right?
right now, I'm in Seattle.
Oh, well, I was wrong then when I introduced you. Okay, I
No,
thought you were
not
based in.
really, not really. I have a foot in Los Angeles. I'm there. I'm
Okay.
here. You know how it goes. I'm all over the place. But back in Los Angeles, um, I used to work in a studio called the Future Sound Studios. And I was working with René van Bersenbelt, incredible bass player. And on the
I'm sorry,
studio,
what's his name?
René van Bersenbelt.
Okay.
He's an incredible bass player, amazing composer, producer, one of the best recording engineers I have a chance to work with, and I work with many. I work with El Shapiro, many. They are all of them are incredible, but Rene has this magic touch. He's incredible. But so at the studio, we got a chance to work with a lot of artists. Like that was not from my time. Yeah, before I was there, I was Michael Jackson, LaToya Jackson, David Bowie. More close to my time was like another pop artist like Lady Gaga, Beyonce. We have all those amazing artists. They are very good artists. All the producers. When I was there, I was doing arrangements, and I got a chance to have what is her last name? I have a Durga Mike Brown singing some of my arrangements. Durga, I don't know if she's still working or with a Pink Floyd. She was doing all the singings. Her sister, what's more, back at the studio, Ika Turner, we got a Grammy of the best blues album of the year with Ika. Now, this was before my time. With David Bowie, we got a platinum album. I say we, but that was before my time. I show up there afterwards. Too bad. That'd be very nice to work with David Bowie. But no, that was before my time. But we have all sorts of artists coming to the studio or passing by. All the musicians from Earth, Wind, and Fire, they always recording there. Not with the Future Sound, but with the next door studio. David was doing those recordings. It's nice. I mean, I was able to jump in everybody work and listen to the new work, have my opinion heard. Then did a lot of arrangements, not for David, not for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Too bad, I love you. She may have a chance in the future, never know. But I did a lot of work for some of those musicians. Most
A
of the
lot of
time,
great experiences. Yeah, that's great that you've been able to do so much. Tell me, I wanted to ask you about your bass gear. Why don't you start with what you're holding there in your lap? You
oh
mentioned
my
Ned
God,
Steinberger, and I know you're a big fan of NS Design. That's the Radius bass, isn't it?
this is the CR radius. I call this bass perfection. Uh, the finish, the touch. I mean, it's a beauty. This bass is a beauty. Let's take a look. This bass is a beauty. Let me show this bass.
My screen is a little small, but that looks like a six string. Is that right?
It is a six string.
Gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous bass, a headless bass. The interesting thing about this bass, you have two magnetic pickups, two MGs, plus you got a piezo pickup. On the bridge, we have a piezo pickup, and you have a controls for the piezo pickup over here. You have a controls for the magnetic pickups over here. You can blend this knob in here. If you turn this way, let's see, counterclockwise, you're gonna have just the piezo pickup sound. Clockwise, all way through, you're gonna have the magnetics. If you go 50%, both sides, you have both of them. If you wanna have like a stand-up bass sound, you can go all through piezo pickups. If you want a slap, you can go all magnetic. You can blend both of them in a many different ways. At this point, I'm blending both of them. It's a very interesting. And at some point, I want to use just a piezo pickup, and I go for muffs. Then I say no, I want to go magnetic, and I go for muffs. And later on, I go back to the beginning, and I blend both of them. And in other words, I did not make my mind yet. It sounds beautiful, no matter what you do. This bass in here, I did have to wait a moment to get this bass because I want with this finishing. And our friends from NS Design, they say, Paulo, we are having your bass soon. And they build that bass to send to me. They are such a good people. And yeah, the perfection. I wish you can hear the sound of this bass right now. But I may send you some samples if you like it.
Sure, there you go. Love to hear them. Hey, I want to talk about playing bass and learning bass. Now, for BassPlayersOnly.com is really a bass instruction site. And I've got people from pretty much every state in the US right now, and I don't know, about 50, 60 countries, probably more than that by now. People coming to For Bass Players Only every day to learn bass. And as I hinted at the beginning, most of them are men, and there's a fair bit of women too, but most of them are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I've got students in their 80s, and they're loving it. They're not trying to make a career out of being a professional musician. They just want to get together with their friends and play some classic rock riffs or some blues shuffles or some walking bass or some things like that. And I also mentioned arthritis, tendonitis, those kinds of things creep in sometimes. So I try to get them to I show them that just a super simple bass line can make the music feel so great. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or a contortionist to play the bass. And I'm telling you all this just to give you a context because I want to ask you, Paulo, what advice do you have for those people? Somebody like that who just wants to learn to play the bass, to have fun, to play their favorite music, whether it's classic rock or blues or anything else that they love. What should they be thinking about? What kind of goals should they have? What kind of questions should they ask? That kind of thing.
Okay. I'm gonna try to don't get too technical on it.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to not get too technical because some musicians, the newcomers, they listen to the bass. Sometimes they see like a four-string instrument. Oh, that'll be super easy to play, easier than the guitar. Guitar has too many strings. And let's go to the bass. Then they get into the bass. They start to play a couple of notes, bass lines, you know, and then down the road, they're going to figure they have to know harmony. They have to know the bass player, know all the chords, know all the notes for every single chord. The bass player and that have to work their brain out so much. I don't want to say more than the guitar players. We all work the same. It's a cellist, you have violinists, violin players, guitar players, bass players. But it's a very important to know harmony if you want to play the bass. And for some people, it may get so overwhelming. When I speak with a bass player and then I say, okay, look, let's start from the beginning. Let's do a major scale. Let's see if I have a sound. Let's do C major. Just that. Do, re, mi, fa, ba, 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 ba. And then I say, okay, now we have a diatonic scale. From that diatonic scale, what chords I can make with this scale? No flats, no sharps, all natural notes. It starts from C, you be in C major. And we go from there. And then I say, okay, you can do C major 7, B minor 7. I'm trying the 7 to make it sound more interesting. E minor 7, F major 7, G7 dominant, the relative minor, A minor 7. Then to close, B minor, half diminished. And I try to tell them, okay, this sequence of chords is gonna work for any major key, okay? And plus, always remember, you have the relative minor, C major, A minor. Okay, now you know 2 keys. You're going in a good direction. You know 2 keys. And you know the chords, the basic chords you can make on those 2 keys. If you are in a situation on a gig, let's say if somebody just tell you, okay, it's in C, and basic 2-5-1. 2-5-1, first chord to B minor, your minor 7, your dominant, and then your major chord, your tonic. But and of course, you can go from there, you can go anywhere. You can using your
That high C comes in very handy on the 6th string. It sounds beautiful.
yeah, you have those extra strings can give you can make the chords much easier.
Well, so anyway, getting back to your point here, you're saying that it's not just playing the root, but understanding the harmony is important too. When the bass player has to know the notes in the chords and has to know some basic music theory to get through the chords.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's gonna have to play the rhythms. He has to hold for everybody. For example, let's say something, I will say that's something interesting. When you're in a jazz situation, you're playing, and then the guitar player has a solo, and your bass lines are there, holding for him. The piano player comes, and you're there. And everybody has a bass. and they do the solos. It's beautiful. And then comes the bass player solo. Everybody stops. And then comes the bass.
Sometimes even the drummer will lay out.
No, yeah, everybody. They like to say, let the bass player shine. And it's a bass. I don't know if the other bass players think the same. I found to be very hard because, and I say, okay, now I have all the measures in my mind. I know where I'm gonna change my chords, but you're not playing chords. You're playing bass lines inside of the chords, and you're doing a solos. Now you're doing rhythms, a solo inside of the. You're like listen to the chords in your head, and sometimes you look to the guitar player and say, "Oh, it'd be so nice if they give me a chord." I think that the bandmates should play like a few chords for the bass player. It's a lot of responsibility to do a solo, if you know what I mean. And this comes the point where why the bass players, they need to know harmony. Because, okay, you're going to do your solo inside of the chains. You cannot just go there and say, okay, it's a E minor. And you play like A minor scale, some phrases. Yeah, it could be very beautiful. Guaranteed, of course. But it would be nicer if besides to do this solo using the diatonic or any scales in G, if you can like go farther than that and play over the chains, then you can change keys. As you say, you can go out of the key and then come back, and you're still inside it, because now you're not taking this out of the box like you play the diatonic, but looking from G, I go to A minor, C minor, D minor, or no, it's even C major. C major to let's see. Oh my God, there's so many places to go. And
you make a great point, because that's how I was taught when I was at University of Miami. I had a tough teacher, Vince Maggio, and he had us all in his improv class. And no matter what instrument you play, doesn't if you're a piano player, or a bass player, anything, you can only play one note at a time. He says, I want to hear the changes going by. And we had to play blues and we had to play rhythm changes. I got rhythm. And any key asked for, any tempo. He asked me to play it in D flat on the final, which you know what? I didn't even bat an eye, because I was prepared for all 12 keys. And afterwards I thought, D flat, that's probably not, and I was on the upright bass too. So I thought, but and he would say there's no such things as easy keys and hard keys, only familiar keys and unfamiliar keys. But getting back to your point, there was no chording instrument. There was no guitar strumming. There was no piano. You had to play one note at a time, going through all the changes to I got rhythm. And any key asked for, any tempo asked for, playing only one note at a time. What a great exercise. Great way to learn. I learned so much from doing that. We don't always have that luxury.
You end up learning the stage in a real life, in a real situation. That's the situation there. Because, for example, here I'm playing all these chords, but yeah, when I'm in a band, I do not play chords. I'm doing it here because it's just us bass players, and I know people want to say, but I don't want to hear chords. I want to hear the notes. Where's this low notes? Something about this, by the way, about this bass, the low notes on this bass, it's so clean. You can really hear those notes. It cuts through the mix on a band. Sometimes
what kind of amp do you play that through?
At this right now, I'm using a Bose L1. It's more for acoustic instruments. I use that to play when I play acoustic cello. But right now, I'm using a Bose.
What about the future, Paulo? What else would you like to do that you haven't already done, or maybe there's something else that you do have lined up that you didn't mention? What lies ahead for you?
It's an interesting question.
That well, is there something you've always wanted to do? Someday I'm going to.
You know, uh, something really important. When you're a teenager, you start to play music, and you see all of those like guitar heroes, like those bass player heroes. You have all those heroes, those artists, and a lot of people they may dream with fame, and they want to be a rock star. Nothing is wrong with it. It's wonderful. It's good. Why not be a rock star? Uh, when I started, I always dreamed to play that musician and this another musician. I was listening to those bass players. I wanna know them. And then I was thinking, wow, I would like to be good enough to play with this team of musicians. Those guys are on a stage back behind the artist. I want to be playing with the guitar player who plays with Beyonce. Let's say that behind her. I don't want to be her. I want to just play with that guys. I want to be one of those guys because I know they are fantastic. They are the ones who make the music. Okay. For me, be successful. If my dream was to be able to play with those musicians, and over the years, I've been working and playing with some of those musicians, and I feel like I fulfill that dream. I dreamed it. I remember when I saw a symphony orchestra for the very first time, and I was mesmerized with the sound. And I said, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I'm going to play in a symphony orchestra one day. And I did. Back in Boston, I was in Harvard for 3.5 years playing with the Lowell House. That was an opera orchestra, playing operas. Play opera is not a joke. It was fun, but it was a hard work. You never know when the singer going to say, the music wasn't B, but I wanted to B flat. And you don't have a manuscript in B flat. You have to transpose everything down. String players, they don't transpose much. But we do. On an opera, if you need it, you better do it. So over the years, I've been playing with some of those musicians. Some of them become friends. Now they are old friends. And I feel I have this dream fulfilled. And I think I was very successful because I did what I was trying to do. Be one of those musicians. And of course, everything changed over time. Now, because back in the day, I was thinking me is one of those musicians. But for many, many years, now I feel like I'm just a part of a body. The body is the band, the body is the orchestra. And I don't think it's myself as a musician. I think I'm just a medium, a conduit through the music. Through me, people can hear the music. I'm nothing more than that. Every chord I play, every piece of music I play, everything, it's not really me. I'm just an instrument. Like the bass is an instrument. I am an instrument. You can grab the composer's music. I don't know if it makes any sense. It go through me, go through the instrument to you. All the information. Yes. But
well said.
Now for the future, let's see. That was interesting. We talk about that. I'm working with one of my heroes. His name is Bororó. Bororó is a bass player from Brazil who played with all the Brazilian stars. And he was one of those musicians and was listening to the LPs, watching the show, see the bass player there on the back of the stage, just like a killer sound. beautiful musician, so gracious. And okay, now I'm working with him. You've been friends for many, many years. He has a project we call Kalunga Project. Kalunga, I believe when he was traveling through Africa, he got some information. He just saw few things there. Come back to Brazil, learn about Kalunga. Kalunga, it's a group of people. Back many, many years ago, I don't know, 100 years, 150, they used to be slaves. They flee. They are one of those we call Quilombo. I want to try to see if I can make a sense that for you. Quilombo was the place where the slaves, when they are fleeing from the farms, from the owners, they used to go and seek refuge on the Quilombos. The Quilombos are hiding. Nobody knew where the Quilombos are because, you know, they are fugitives. They are slaves. And they end up like from Bahia, all those places close to the ocean, they end up going straight to the middle of the country. And in the middle of the Brazil, we have this group of runners. They call the Kalunga people. And Bororó, learning of them, and he decided to help out. And he starts with all those music projects. And I've been working with him on those projects. And you have a lot of musicians involved on it. Some musicians you may know, Milton Nascimento, Gilberto Gil, Chico Buarque, Yolanda, what's more, Zé Cabaleiro, Paulinho Mosca, musicians, incredible musicians like Marçalzinho, Chacal, and all those musicians are involved giving the art to help those people, to help the children, to give a better quality of life for them. Because they, after all of those years, those Kalunga, they do maintain their identity. They did not change. And I got a chance to meet with them a very long time ago. And they are the nicest people ever. If they live in this like secluded place, just them, they plant the food, they make everything. And yeah, you're working towards of it. And of course, I got a chance to work with Bororó and all of those incredible artists. I used to listen to them when I was a teenager. And it has been interesting. It has been interesting.
That is very, you've done a lot of amazing stuff. I do have one more question for you, Paulo. I know you're more than a bass player. You're a composer. You play the cello. You play the guitar. What would you be if you weren't any of those things? If you weren't a bass player, something outside of music? You've never thought about it?
That's a good question. Always thinking of, okay, because it'd be so sad. We come to this world and you don't build anything. You don't try to make it better. If I was not a musician, what Paulo could do to help the others? Be a doctor. My family tried. They tried hard for me to be a doctor. And I said, no, I want to be a musician. But let's see, if I was not a musician, I probably would just like to be the person who I am. Out of the music, a lot of people do I know, they don't know I am a musician. And what I try to do every day, I try to help the others. It's nice to help other people. It's nice when people help me. And I'll try to give it back to them. I don't have a profession. I think I will be like the best human I could. and I've been trying very hard, but you never know if I can. But
That's
I'm
beautiful.
trying.
That's very inspiring. That's great. Well, you are a fascinating man. You've got some story after story of so many interesting things that you've done. And thank you so much for sharing. It's great having you on the show. And I know a lot of people are going to feel very inspired from listening to you. And
I hope so.
I think you have a lot more in you. We should open it up for a follow-up interview and get together and do this again sometime in the near future. Would you like
Thank you,
that?
John. Thank you for having me. I hope to one of those days meet you in person. If one of
Oh,
those days I'm around or if you're around, let's get together. Maybe we can meet with some of our fellow bass players
that would be
around
great.
all over
Or if
the
they're
world, all over the country.
in Seattle, I haven't been to Seattle in 25 years. I remember what is the place where they throw the fish and the guy catches the fish? You know what I'm
Oh,
talking
that was the Pike Place Market. I was pretty remarkable when I was walking there and I saw like this huge fish like a fly and somebody was catching me with one hand and I was like, I don't know, it looks dangerous. They never
about.
drop a fish.
Yeah. Well, if they did, we'd all hear about it. Well, thank you so much once again. I wish you much luck and continued success. I do look forward to meeting in person. Let's make a point of making that happen. Thanks again.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
You're watching ForBassPlayersOnly.com. I'm John Liebman, founder and first baseman. If you've ever wanted to play bass, but you feel hindered by the arthritis and tendonitis, other things that happen to us as we get older, you should know that right now there are thousands and thousands of people inside the For Bass Players Only community. A lot of them over 50, 60, 70, even over 80. They are learning bass, having the time of their life, playing music that they love. You should come join them and experience that incredible transformation for yourself. As I always say, you're never too old to groove. Thanks again to my special guest, Paulo Cesar Pereira. Hey, I could be a Brazilian. I will see you all right back here, same time, same place next week. In the meantime, let's play bass.